Hello, it's JC, the Fantasy Football Explorer, and today let's talk about the last spots on your bench. Sometimes when you're out adventuring, you rely on the smallest of details and you're hanging on by the slimmest of margins. And sometimes a man's life can depend on a mere scrap of information. So too in fantasy football. And we're going to look at some players who'd be the last ones on your roster. Might help you out in a pinch. The first one is KJ Osborne, wide receiver, Minnesota Vikings. He's the third wide receiver in Minnesota. They're supposed to be throwing the ball more this year. Last season, he had 50 catches for 655 yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. Not too shabby. Now, there is some risk. Osborne had one game with 0 fantasy points. So be careful as always, but he's the last player on your bench. You only need him in a pinch. Hopefully it's a game where he catches a touchdown. All right, second player we want to talk about today is Josh Palmer, wide receiver, Los Angeles Chargers. He's coming on late last season, so he might have more of an upside than he did last season. 2021, he had 33 catches, 353 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Now, he also had a game where he put up 0 fantasy points, but he was trending upwards towards the end of last season. Next, we have Van Jefferson, wide receiver, Los Angeles Rams. He is the third wide receiver right now for the LA Rams. Last season, 50 catches, 802 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. Now, he did have knee surgery, and he could miss week 1. But still a solid bench spot in case you need to use him. You never know, pray for a touchdown. The next player should be a little bit better known, Tyler Boyd, wide receiver, Cincinnati Bengals. 67 catches, 828 yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. The good thing about Boyd, he's on a very good offense. They should move the ball down the field, get in the red zone. He'll have opportunities to get catches. Keep him in mind. Lastly, we have Marvin Jones, wide receiver, Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, he is 32 years old, but he seems to be a wily veteran, and he always gets his catches. Last season, 73 receptions, 832 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Now, the entire Jacksonville team should be glad to get out from under the weight of Urban Meyer. And Doug Peterson does like to throw the ball around. So Marvin Jones should be a high floor, low ceiling receiver. You can put him in when you need to if there's a bye week or an injury. Now again, all these players could also be helpful in daily fantasy. If you're looking for a bargain wide receiver, and fill out your daily fantasy roster, there is a chance they could get 3 or 4 catches, maybe a touchdown, and help you out with your daily fantasy. That's all I have for today. It's a jungle out there, and YouTube, stay free.